What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Color Scheme Breakdown. This is a series in which I ramble entirely too long about a particular color scheme in question, giving you my overall thoughts and opinions on the color scheme after, of course, breaking it down, what it is, and anything worth noting. Once I do that, I will finish up by giving you my thoughts on how to paint said color scheme in a simple yet effective manner to have an efficient use of your time to make a sharp looking force. And of course, the more skilled you are painting, the better you can do and springboard off of this or not as you so desire. So basically, what the color scheme is, thoughts and opinions on it, and then some thoughts on achieving it is the basic rundown here. So up on the chopping block, this time is a Blood Angel successor, my favorite Blood Angel's Gene Seed Force, the Lamenters Space Marine chapter. A Curse Founding chapter that's really cool. Really tragic, unlucky chapter for sure, but still pretty cool. So let's dig in and have some fun with this. These guys are defined more so by their symbol, you could say, on their shoulder pad than their actual coloration, although the coloration, of course, is very important and a big part of what they are. So what am I talking about? Well, let's break it down. Their main armor color is yellow. There is some sources out there that claim the yellow was a brighter yellow back in the day. I found one. I can't get a good picture to save it, but I found one old piece of artwork of the Lamenters in which the yellow is kind of brighter, but it's of that time period of publications where all colors were bright. So I'm not certain if that's what's being referred to or not. Because some of the older models I've seen paint up these guys still are not a very bright yellow. They are more like the yellow we know them to be, which is a kind of a mustardy or even sulfur style of yellow. So that type of yellow is their main armor color. Their chest emblem is in gold. Their, and by extension, I guess you could say, any type of ornateness would be done that similar gold. So their helmet lenses are red. Their weaponry is black. And their squad markings are black as well. Any type of cloth you could do in kind of this faded gray color we see on one model's kind of artwork. Or not model, one marine artwork piece from the Badab War. So, pretty straightforward color scheme thus far. Yellow was always difficult, so with that said, not too bad. But the single reason they are a rarity to see in the wild, and the single reason most people will turn away from collecting them, is their chapter symbol shoulder pad. Because their chapter symbol is a heart with a blood drop on a white circular background that's outlined in black. That sits on top of a black and white checkered shoulder pad inset. So the entire shoulder pad is black and white checkered, and you have the blood drop and heart on a white circular background outlined in black sitting on top of that. I've seen it freehand. I've seen kind of a step-by-step picture of how it's done. I've seen video of it. People do it. It's not like it's unheard of, but it's still very difficult, in my opinion, to do. Time-consuming for sure. So if you're new to this hobby and you like yellow armor, you might stumble across these guys only to quickly go, nope, because of the shoulder pad. And it's their defining feature. That's what makes a Lamenter a Lamenter. So, with that said, that hasn't changed. What the last thing that is kind of, you could say, has changed, because yellow armor is debatable. They always were yellow, but what style of yellow is up for debate a little bit, is the fact that back in the day they had a red helmet stripe down the center of the helmet. That's gone away. And the only time you see a helmet stripe is in black for veteran sergeants. So you could bring it back. Let's say you had a veteran squad and you wanted the sergeant to stand out, maybe give him the red stripe or something. But by and large, it's gone, the red striping. So with that said, we're not done, because vehicle-wise, Forgel went ahead and updated these guys. And with the Badab War book, which they're a part of, they got a bit of an update to the fluff and everything like that, and that's great. But they also changed up vehicles. Insofar as their symbol is different from infantry. It's not that same symbol. Instead, it's kind of a coat of arms shield design. And on that type of shield, you have it quartered, with the top left and bottom right being black and white checkering. Hooray. And the top right and bottom left being white backgrounds over the yellow still to make that shield symbol. And then you have red for the Imperial Eagle and the skull on the bottom left side, and the top right side you have the symbol of the chapter itself, that heart with the blood drop in a white circle. Very interesting symbol, one of the more unique symbols for Space Marines because of the simple fact that that symbol looks almost more at home on Eldar. But anyways, that is what the symbol is for vehicles. You might see the standard symbol by itself, just the heart with blood drop in a circle on vehicles, but this is the kind of unifying symbol for all the vehicles, dreadnoughts included, is this little shield symbol. So the nice thing about this is the flat surface makes freehanding it a bit easier if you so desire, but being a flat surface that vehicles tend to have for the Space Marines, you can find fan-made decal sheets for the Lamenters with this symbol on it out there on the internet. Printed on clear decal paper, a bit of an extra step of course, but you do that, and then you block out a section of white where you're going to put it, you put it down, and then clean up carefully with the yellow around it, and you have yourself the symbol, no problem. Which is nice. And unfortunately, we can't really do that with the shoulder pad because it's the entire shoulder pad inset that is that checkering pattern. But anyways, that's the whole look of the Lamenters, the defining feature, of course, being their chapter symbol. Now, without getting dragged down the fluff ramblings that I could easily do by talking about Death Company, because it not the fan of how it's been reintroduced for them, but they do have artwork for it, and it's in their fluff that they have Death Company people now. So if you want to represent that, it's done the traditional way with the black armor with the red stripes, with of course that shoulder pad on them. Nothing really different there. I just figured I'd make mention of it. Anyways, with that all said and done, I really enjoyed this color scheme. I think it's very sharp looking. I think it's very unique in the sense of how it stands out because of that chapter shoulder pad, the chapter symbol shoulder pad. It is a holdout of the old style of ways in which GW made forces up and did their symbols and everything, because back in the day, chapters had a bit more craziness going on with coloration and symbols and what have you. Not everywhere, but a lot of the successor chapters did, and that has since been done away with and retconned out of for certain ones to a much better look. I'm looking at you, Minotaurs. They look way better now than they did then. But the Lamenters have stayed kind of true to what they are because it's not that outlandish. It's just difficult, that shoulder pad. So, really do enjoy it. I like the use of the gold. It's in a way yellow kind of subdues the gold a little bit, so it's there. It still pops, but it's not in your face crazy popping, and it links them back to their Blood Angel roots as well. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, with all that said, how do you achieve this color scheme? Well, the yellow isn't too bad. The shoulder pad is where you're going to have trouble, and I highly recommend doing a little bit of searching for 3D printed storefronts out there. You'll find a plethora of 40K accessory stuff, including shoulder pads, including the Lamenters shoulder pads, with the 3D texturing, having the checker pattern and everything there. So you just got to kind of paint within the lines, giving you the end result. It's still going to be tedious, but if you're like me and you just really can't freehand something like this, it's going to be the way to go. So definitely give that a look for. I haven't found any Terminator shoulder pads, not that you really need it because they can't even really feel the full squad of Terminators. That's how little Terminator armor they have. But still, this would look pretty cool to have like a Terminator painted up maybe for a captain or something, right? I understand people's need for wanting to paint up a Terminator like that. So that would be a bit of a problem. I personally haven't found a Terminator shoulder pad kind of like this out there, but it doesn't mean you can't find it. It might be out there, I don't know. But at least for the standard power armor shoulder pads, that is covered and that is great. So definitely like that. For the rest of the armor, the gold, the black, the red helmet lenses, all pretty straightforward. Symbol wise, if you can't find that symbol in black, just use a decal of whatever symbol in whatever color and paint over it carefully in black, and you'll have it good to go. As far as the yellow goes, first off, the gray cloth, you just gotta basically put gray base down, wash it carefully, and then dry brush up some gray, and you should be all right. However you want to do that. But the yellow is the most important part. That's part of the defining feature of the Lamenters, that and their symbol. It is more of a sulfur yellow or a mustard yellow type of yellow. It's not quite the super bold and crisp yellow of the Imperial Fist, although if you went down that path, it wouldn't be wrong necessarily or bad. And with their chapter shoulder pad symbol set up, it'll be definitely Lamenters without a doubt. But they're specifically called out as having a mustard yellow or a sulfur yellow type of yellow. So I know Vallejo and all that, and Reaper and them have yellows that can work out well for you as a base. I know if you're gonna try the transparent paint method from War Colors, which is just they paint like standard paints, they're very transparent. They have a transparent yellow, and I know from experience with the one test model I did that it works out pretty nicely. If you're not going to do any of that, Averland Sunset is a very good yellow base to put down from GW to then build off of that to build the yellow how you want it, whether you want to build it using Phalanx yellow to like Dorn yellow or Yrel yellow, or however you pronounce that. It's up to you. Contrast paints, I bring it up because they exist as a thing now. Eandon yellow, I've seen it picture form, how it looks when it's nice and done neatly and clean. It looks very good. You can do a sulfur or mustard style yellow by using it as your start over a Wraithbone or a Wraithbone like base. You do that. You then can do some layering up in terms of highlighting in whatever type of yellow you feel best complements that once it's dry, and you'll have a very good yellow. For any yellow force, really, it's kind of a universal yellow to that point. Depending upon how you layer it, can kind of make it sit more in the Lamenter's court of things. And either way, I think it'll take some of the sting out of painting yellow for sure. So that's what I would recommend. The transparent yellow from War Colors is very nice as well. I just know here in the States, finding Vallejo, even Reaper paints, and of course Citadel paints is a lot easier than finding War Colors or some other companies out there that have a nice yellow. But if you do your digging and you don't mind buying off the internet, you can find some pretty nice yellows to represent the Lamenters just fine. And it's just a matter of patience and painting up that way. The Lamenters do give us one great scapegoat, one great thing we can lean heavily on as a crutch, and that is the fact that they are a force that has been beaten and battered for centuries. Their final century, not their final, but in the past century of their Penance Crusade, they were nearly wiped out. They do have some fresher Primaris reinforcements, but if you're going for a non-Primaris force with very little Primaris, you can have all the non-Primaris guys be pretty beaten and banged up in terms of visuals with weathering and battle damage and battle scarring on their armor and whatnot. And the reason I bring this up is it adds more character to your force if you like that sort of thing. It's also a great way to hide crimes of the painting. If the yellow didn't come out crisp, it came a little bit weird, if it's a little bit too saturated in certain areas or whatever the case is, a little too dark in certain areas, you don't have to freak out about it. You can just go over that area with weathering or battle damage type texturing or whatever the case is, and you have a very kind of interesting looking force on top of it already looking pretty cool because now their Lamenters all beaten and banged up. So just food for thought there. Anyways, thanks very much for sticking through it. What are your thoughts on the Lamenters scheme? Do you like it or not? Like I believe I said in the beginning, this is what made me like yellow armor. I'm a big fan of these guys. Would love to paint up more of them for sure, but I want to try the contrast method personally. Anyways, what are your thoughts on the Lamenters color scheme, likes and dislikes and so forth? Leave it in the comment section below. Thanks very much for sticking through it, and until next time, take it easy.